Good morning, everyone. I hope day one of polar coordinates went well. I got a couple emails from people saying that they were glad that something was easy, so hopefully you liked it. So today we're going to finish up with polar coordinates by talking about the distance between 2 points on the coordinate plane. So let me just do on the polar plane. So let me just do a review. One second. There we go. So rectangular coordinates are our traditional x and y where we have an x-axis and a y-axis, and then the steps that we take make a rectangle. So that's why we call it rectangular coordinates. And then polar coordinates ask for a length of a radius and the angle measure that it makes with the positive x-axis. So with those two pieces of knowledge, we can draw the polar coordinate on the polar axis. So polar coordinates use the distance from the pole or the origin and the angle that it makes with the polar axis or the positive x-axis. And point P is going to be labeled as r comma theta, where the distance from the pole is the absolute value of r, because remember from Tuesday that r could be negative, and the measure of the angle formed with the polar axis. So ray OP, the angle formed by the polar axis and ray OP, and that angle measure is called theta. All right. So here on this polar graph, I have labeled point P and point Q. So if we notice that point P is located at an R value of 1, 2, 3 and a theta value of 30 degrees. And over here, Q is located at an R value of 1, 2, 3, 4 and a theta value of 120 degrees. And what we want to be able to do is connect those 2 points, call that segment PQ, and we want to find the length of PQ. Okay, so we're going to go back to a little bit of geometry. So something that we know is if I connect P to the origin, the length of that segment is 3 units. And if I connect Q to the origin, the length of that segment is 4 units. Okay, so in geometry, when we did law of sines or law of cosines, because this isn't necessarily, it turns out to be a right triangle, but not always going to be a right triangle, we're going to need a third piece of information. So it would be good to know this length, but that's really what we're going for. Or it would be good to know the measure of this angle, because then we can use the law of cosines. So if we take a look, this whole angle is 120 degrees, and this much is 30 degrees. So if I do 120 minus 30, I get 90 degrees. So I didn't intentionally make that a right angle, but I'm going to go with it. So this angle is 90 degrees right here. So we are dealing with a triangle that looks like this. So hopefully some of you can recognize that we should get 5 for PQ because it's a 3, 4, 5 right triangle. Let's see if we can get that using the law of cosines. So we will call this D for distance. So we said the length opposite the angle squared is equal to, this would be P squared, plus Q squared minus 2PQ cosine of O, meaning the origin. So the cosine of the angle at that pole. Okay, so looking at this, notice that P squared is going to be 4. So that's the distance from the origin to Q, which is this 4 right here. So this is going to be 4 squared plus, and then Q squared is going to be this length right here, because little q goes opposite big Q. So that's going to be 3 squared minus 2 times 4 times 3 times the cosine of this angle measure, and that angle measure was 90 degrees. So notice that angle measure again came from taking the larger theta value minus the smaller theta value. And so this is D squared. So if we plug this into our calculator, hopefully this gives me 25. So take a moment, pause the video, and go ahead and figure this out on your calculator. And I'm going to do it while we talk. And then making sure that our calculator is in degrees. So I do get that D squared is equal to 25. So if I take the square root of both sides, we get D is equal to 5. And that is exactly what we thought it was supposed to be. So thinking about how we got that done, just a second, we want to put this into a general format. So notice we have P1 right here is located at some R1 value and theta 1 value. And then P2 right here is at some R2 value and some theta 2 value right here. So the length of this segment would be R1 and the length of this segment would be R2. And then we said this is the larger theta value and this is the smaller theta value. And so we would subtract those to get the measure of this angle right here. And so that gives us this formula that says take the first r squared plus the second r squared minus 2 times the first times the second r times the cosine of the difference in theta. And the good news is it doesn't matter if that angle value is negative or positive, the cosine will give us the same value. So notice if I got rid of the square root, this would just be d squared. And so they did that extra step of taking the square root of both sides. So if you want to take a moment and copy down that formula, then we're going to head back over to the document camera and do a couple more examples. All right, so here is the first example that we're going to do. We have point 1 is at 6, 90 degrees, and point 2 is at 2, 130 degrees. So this is going to be our R1 and our theta 1, and this is going to be our R2 and our theta 2. Okay, so what we're going to do is use that formula, and then you can either use it with the d squared or you could use it with the radical. That's totally up to you. So we have d is equal to the square root of the first r squared plus the second r squared minus 2 times the first r times the second r times the cosine of the difference in theta. And again, whether you do 130 minus 90 or 90 minus 130, that does not matter. So take a moment to plug that into your calculator. So I'm going to do it here. So you may have time or you might want to pause the video, totally up to you. Sine of 130 minus 90 gives me. And so once I take the square root, this is going to be 4.6 rounded to the nearest tenth. All right. So if you read in the book, it's not going to tell you where to round. So we're going to go ahead and round to the nearest tenth unless something tells us to do differently, because there's no way to give the exact answer to this question. All right, so take a moment to pause the video, and I want you to try B all by yourself, and then go ahead and press play, and then you can see the rest of how to do this. All right, so we're going to say D is equal to the square root of, and I'm going to say 4 squared plus 1 squared. So the reason why I am not worried about the negative on this one is that when I square it, the negative is going to go away anyway. And typically when we're talking about the law of cosines, this is representing the length of R, not the direction of R. So the length of that segment is still 4 units. All right, so this is going to be minus 2 times, actually I'm going to need that negative in there here. So 2 times negative 4 times 1. And then we're going to have the cosine of, and we can do 85 minus 105. So in this part, we do need that negative 4 in there. So I take back what I said, but I don't want to go redo this whole video. So just bear with me. But again, this part, we don't need the negative because when I square it, the negative is going to go away anyway. All right, so take a moment to plug that into your calculator. So we get the square root of 4 squared plus 1 squared minus 2 times negative 4 times 1 times the cosine of 85 minus 105 gives us 4.95. So since C is equal to 4.95, that's going to round up to about 5.0. So notice we do need to have the 0.0 in there because it wasn't an exact value of 5 like we had in the previous example. But it rounded up to 5. So we're saying that what I have in my calculator is closer to 5.0 than it is to 4.9. So you are going to have a nice homework assignment of only 4 questions. So please take advantage of getting some good points for 4 questions. I will have a Zoom tutorial today at 3 o'clock in case anybody has any questions on anything from 9-1. I am working on getting your tests graded. It just takes a long time to do it digitally because I don't have it just sitting right in front of me, but I am working on that. Um, for my seniors, I will be signing up to be at the cap and gown distribution. So I'm so excited to be able to see you on that day. Hopefully, you guys get to make it out there and I'll get to wave from a 6-foot distance. So hope everything is going well and have a wonderful Thursday.